Hi everyone, it's Adam with WebStarts.com, and in today's video I'm going to give you 10 tips for creating a better looking mobile website using WebStarts. Before I do that though, I do want to invite you to subscribe and enable notifications for this channel if you're interested in learning more about web design, creating an online store, a blog, internet marketing, search engine optimization, and a variety of other topics. If you're not familiar with WebStarts, WebStarts is everything you need to create your very own website, online store, or blog. And it's free to sign up by going to webstarts.com, so you can see that I've entered that into the browser. Click on Get Started, it's free, and then in the next step you're going to choose a design. Every one of these designs is 100% customizable and can be changed at any time. You can search through designs by category and even by functionality. So for example, if you wanted an online store, you could select a design that already has an integrated online store, or if you wanted a blog, you could select one that already has a blog. All of the designs can have an online store or blog or anything else added to them, so you really can't make a mistake by selecting the wrong one. I've already signed up for an account, so what I'm going to show you is how to log in just by clicking log in, and then I'm going to in the next step, I'm going to see this page where I have all of the websites that are in my account. You can create multiple websites within a single account with WebStarts, but for this demo, I'm going to be working with this one particular site. Once you've selected a site, you'll be in what's called the dashboard view. That's where you're going to find high-level and important account functions. You'll see a thumbnail to your site, and then you'll see different applications that you can activate that work alongside your website. So for example, the store, blog, a business email marketing, those kind of things. In this video, we're strictly going to be focused on design, so I'm going to click Edit Site, and that's going to open up what's called the Page Editor. And in the Page Editor in the top right, you'll notice you have a desktop view, but also a little icon for a mobile view. And this video is going to be mainly focused on working within that mobile editor, and I'm going to be selecting the About page as the focus for this particular video. So let's dive in and start talking about these 10 tips that I've laid out to help you create a better looking mobile design. The first tip, and it's because you're really working with a smaller screen. So if you go over here and you click on mobile editor, you'll notice immediately you always have a smaller screen when dealing with mobile. So the first tip is to keep it simple. Don't include everything on your website in the mobile view. Just try to focus on the most important things that you want to convey and stick to the essentials. Because you don't want to display all of your design elements, WebStarts allows you to hide certain design elements in the mobile viewport. So here you can see that I've selected the element Luxury Life, and if I want to hide that from my mobile view, I just click the hide icon, and then I can find it under the hidden icon on the sidebar, and then I just click the visible icon to bring it back. So when I hide it, it's not going to remove it from my desktop, it's only removing it from the mobile view of my website. And that way you can go through and you can select the elements that aren't maybe that important to display on your mobile view, but maybe they are on your desktop, and then you can just hide them from the mobile view to clear up some space. And that's really all the first thing that I want to show you is about, just keeping it simple, hiding some of those elements, and reducing the amount of clutter on a mobile screen. The next thing that I want to draw your attention to is that, of course, because it's a smaller screen, any text that's displayed is going to appear more difficult to read. So you probably want to increase the text size in some cases, just like here. And I need to rearrange my background. And that way it's easier to read this text on a mobile device. So number 2 is to use larger fonts because you're dealing with a smaller screen once again. The third tip is to put a call to action where people don't have to scroll to tap. So if people were to come to this particular site right now, they would have to scroll down in order to find a button to tap on. In fact, I don't even think I have a button on this particular site. I don't want them to have to scroll. I'm going to add a button. Let's just see here. The button's going to take them to the store. And I'm going to put the button right up here. Use the smart handles to create some space, and I'll be going over that a little bit more carefully later. So I've added a button to my page, and now I want that button to be displayed here in my mobile view. So I click on my hidden elements, I click the button, but lo and behold, the button's at the bottom of my mobile view. I want it to be at the top so that it's really easy for somebody to just navigate to this mobile site and then tap on that button. So I'm just dragging it up the page. And when I get to the area here, where I've got a little bit of room, I'm going to place the button on my page. And then the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that my button is big enough that it's easily tappable. And this is actually my fourth tip for creating a good mobile site. Make sure this button is tall enough and it's wide enough that if somebody was just to come to that page, that they would just easily be able to tap on that with their thumb. So now if somebody comes to my page, I can just shore up some of this info here, make my header less tall. In fact, I really want this to appear differently, and then when people come to my page, they're going to see that button and they're going to be able to easily tap on that. The fifth recommendation that I have, or the fifth tip that I want to give to create a better looking mobile design, is to group certain elements together. So here you can see I have luxury homestays, and if I place that text into that box, you can see that they're grouped together. So when I move that box, I move the text as well. And that's the case with each one of these boxes. Now maybe I want to go in here and put an image inside each one of these boxes. Let's see if I can find something kind of nice. I'm going to shrink that down using the handles. And then I'm going to style that so it's a circle. And I'm going to make it a perfect circle. And then I'm going to use the duplication tool. What that's going to do is it's going to allow me to easily duplicate that, drag those elements to the other boxes. And then once I have them all centered in place there, and then of course I can change out those images. So let's see what else I can do. Luxury experiences. So we'll say, we'll just choose this image here. Anyway, you can change all of this out as you see fit, and then when I go over to the mobile view and I unhide those elements, each one will be associated with the appropriate box because the elements are grouped together. If they're not grouped together, you're going to find yourself scrambling to rearrange all of these elements in the mobile view. So we've added a couple of images to the mobile layout, and that brings us to my sixth tip, which is don't include too many images in your mobile layout. And the reason why is because images are a bigger file size, and then normally when people are on their mobile phones, the bandwidth is not as much, and so it takes longer to download the pages of your website. If you have large image files that need to be downloaded, or several image files that need to be downloaded, it could make for a worse experience simply because it'll take longer for those elements on the page to download. Now, the seventh tip that I want to give you, and I've been using it the entire time, is to make sure you come up here and you click View Element Position. So you should have a check next to Element Position. Using the Element Position view displays the X and Y coordinates in the top right of the design element that you're working with. And here you can see, for example, this element is 10 pixels in and 50 pixels down the page. And what that can do is it can help you determine the proper spacing between your elements and give you a nice symmetrical look. So you can see here, for example, if I drag this over just -10, it doesn't look quite right, but if I keep these nice even numbers, like for example, I want to have an x coordinate of 0, that just means that this is all the way up against the side edge, and a y coordinate of, let's say, 200, then I know that this element is placed properly against other elements on my page. So for example, I could increase this text box to be similar in width, let's just say 320 pixels. And that just helps you relate the elements to each other in a way that's nice and symmetrical and keep track of where they are on the page. The 8th tip that I have for you is to be sure to use the resize by value. So when you select an element, you'll have this icon attached that says resize by value. Make sure that your elements are all the same size if they're supposed to look conforming. So each one of these squares or rectangles with the information inside should be the same size, 300 pixels wide by 320 pixels high. So you can see when I select them, they're all the same, and that keeps them looking nice. If I have one that's even a pixel off, it's not going to look quite as well. So the 7th or 8th tip is to use the resize by value. The 9th tip is to make sure that buttons and other design elements that you want people to tap on are on the top layer in WebStarts. Because you can drag and drop things wherever you want them to appear, each element lives on its own layer, and you can send elements to the back, you can send them back a single layer, bring them forward a single layer, or bring them all the way to the front. Anytime you have something like this button, you're going to want to bring it to the front to make sure that it can be tapped on. If I put some of this text in front of this button, then that text is actually going to prevent that button from being able to be tapped, and I don't want to have that bad experience. So always make sure your tappable items are at the front. So if you want to make this image tappable, I recommend bringing it to the front. And of course, to make it tappable, you have to go back to the desktop view and then click on it, and then click the hyperlink icon that's attached to it, and then select where you would like it to link to. The 10th and final tip that I'll be giving for creating a mobile version of your website is to create space by using what we call smart handles. When you select a design element, you can click on these smart handles and you can drag everything down the page, and it will push everything down the page, or you could pull it up the page and it all moves at once. This is great if you just want to create space, but you don't want to have to go back and rearrange every single element in your design. So for example, let's say I wanted to create some more space between each of these boxes. Rather than go and tweak each one of them, I can just simply use the smart handle, and then it will push down everything that is below that particular design element. And then if I wanted to remove some of that space, I could select the design element and drag it up, and it will remove space and drag up all of the elements that are beneath it. That's it for this video. I hope you found some of these 10 tips on how to create a better looking mobile design in WebStarts to be helpful. Be sure to visit WebStarts.com to create your very own free website, whether it be mobile or otherwise, and be sure to subscribe to the channel and enable notifications to see more videos on web design, creating an online store, internet marketing, search engine optimization, and a whole lot more. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.